They have created a monster. Happy sun in Aries and happy birthday to all our Aries friends in the house. They have created a monster. No better message to have for Aries season, am I right? Really, it's not that you're the devil. It's that they were a devil towards you. And instead of that hardening you and making you into a toxic person, even though we all have our weaknesses, right? Nobody's perfect. But instead of it making you cold, heartless, evil, it pushed you to the edge. And that's when your true glory, this light, began to emanate even stronger still in the face of adversity, because this devil was something dark. This was something that would have pushed you to the edge, that actually caused a spiritual awakening for you. Hello and welcome back to the Metamystic Show. It's Missy Gordon, the Metamystic here. This is a reading for Sun in Aries. Aries season. We have the Seven of Cups coming out with the Devil. Remember to only take what resonates and leave the rest for the next guy. Some of you are about to walk out of a fog. There's going to be this sort of illusion that is lifted or removed during Aries season. You're going to realize that you were never the monster. Because for some of you, you were convinced that you were some sort of a monster who was unlovable. Someone could have even said to you, like, who are you really gonna get out there? You're not gonna get anyone better than me, and they are abusive, if that part is for you. So even if you are a strong person, which you are, this sort of confusion would make anyone question themselves, even the strongest soldier. I was watching a TikTok of a lady talking about, if someone makes you feel confused, Seven of Cups with the Devil, that's when you know. When you have felt confused around a person and they make you feel confused constantly and you have to over explain yourself, or you feel like, well, maybe they just don't understand my point of view. Let me just try again, or what is wrong with me? Why does this keep happening to me? Where people misunderstand me or don't understand me. I might be the wrong person to ask. Because I'm kind of a hermit, guys. So what can I really say? This would be more I understand, rather than here is the answer on how you feel less alone, right? Because with the Knight of Pentacles, I'm a Virgo, I'm a realist. I'm not going to lie to you, even though that'll make me more money, right? Yeah, with the Empress, the universe will take care of me. I don't have to lie to your face and to people who are needing a voice to help them process through things. I'm not going to lie to your face, when the universe will just bless me another way. But yeah. You could have gone through this phenomenon many times and for a long time with the Knight of Pentacles. And you could have started to believe the lie, the illusion, because that's what it is. We're here today to break an illusion. And you could be a totally confident person. I'm not talking at you saying, wow, it's kind of pathetic out here. You're feeling like you're always the problem, and what's your problem and stuff. I felt like that many times. So that's the place I'm speaking from, and it's a very tender place. Chicken tenders. Someone could like chicken tenders here. Who doesn't? I don't know. Vegetarians. I was a vegetarian for 7 years, so my throat chakra is going out, and I feel, because I'm talking to people who are very strong, who are very wise. I keep seeing the Hermit flashing. So this may even be a sort of wound that surfaces during Aries season from the past, where you have felt misunderstood or unseen. Like you weren't good enough, guys, in some way. And it's different for everybody how these thought forms, these patterns are formed. We all have our own stories, but we end up in the same room feeling like we're not good enough. And this could be something secretly in your heart, that maybe you just have questions like, why does it feel so hard for me in relationships? Or it feels like right when I get close to people, the mask slips down and they're a narcissist again, or they're toxic again, or they drink again, or whatever, guys, right? You could feel like, why do I keep picking these people? Like it's a feeling of like not trusting yourself because you have quote unquote picked people who end up betraying you. Now, this is what I've come to for myself, right? And this is what the universe has taught me in a roundabout way, is that people enter our lives, or we enter theirs, for a reason, right? And this is not some far off look in the eye, like positive thinking, spiritual bypassing bullshit that we hear constantly online. I'm talking about like something real and legitimate. That you would be faced with this high level of an illusion countless times, because that's what it takes to match you in a battle, right? Yeah, Page of Pentacles. We're here to learn. And that might not be, a super popular. It's definitely not sexy, and it's definitely not gonna it's definitely not gonna make me a lot of money. But we'll get there somehow, right? It's that you actually have the power. That's this message. They created a monster. They created, and this could be something that's coming up during Aries season, a realization that you're having, that if you didn't go through this shit, you never would have become the emperor. We had the empress before as well. You never would have become this person, point blank, period. Iron sharpens iron. Practice makes perfect, right? Now, when it comes to community and friendships and stuff, I mean, we have each other. And you know what? There's something to be said about when you come from like abusive bullshit like we're seeing here with the Devil and the Seven of Cups. We actually kind of have to learn to get in tune with our actual feelings again. Like, what are our boundaries? Are we overgiving? Like, am I overextending? Am I underextending? And that that's a whole nother journey, right? But they have created a monster. I'm thinking of an old Tyler the Creator song. I think it's called Monster. And he's just like, monster, monster. I don't know. Someone let me know what I'm talking about. Tell me what I'm talking about. All I know is you're on the right path with the lovers. And if you feel sad, because I had the 5 of Cups before, that this keeps happening to you, what can I say, guys? You know, you're special. You're an earth angel, you're a chosen one, you're a star seed, whatever label you want to put on it. You are going to experience hardships in life because you challenge the status quo. Period. Selah. That's one of those things where you just have to take a moment of silence with the 8 of Cups. Do I have hope for you? I'm not sure. Happy Aries season. All right. I'm just kidding, guys. I have hope is what has always given me hope, right? And it's never true that you are alone in the world, even if you feel that way, right? But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that everything that you've gone through, you know, I don't know how to explain that. It's like, it's an agitation that I have when people are well-meaning and they try to help, but really it just comes off as they don't understand because maybe they don't. At least we know this, that there's people listening to this right now that understand what I'm saying. We can connect on that point, right? That you're not alone. And also, on the flip side, that you're special, and that's why you felt alone, because you're different. You're like an alien, right? But it could be specifically in a romantic capacity with the 2 of Cups. Yeah, King of Cups. You're looking for someone who's not going to do this to you, who's not going to emotionally manipulate you and humiliate you. I mean, there's a reason why people make the joke online that dating is a humiliation ritual, right? And see, even just that, the fact that that sort of a concept has hit the mainstream, that just shows how many people actually feel that way, guys. So we're not alone, right? But I'm getting that scene in the Truman Show where he's sitting with his friend and he's like, the last thing I would ever do is lie to you. And he's lying to him, right? So yeah. You wouldn't be here in the capacity that you are here if you didn't go through the madness, if you didn't walk through the house of mirrors, if you didn't make it through the other side of the fun house, you wouldn't be fun. You know, there's a reason why comedians are always chronically depressed. Because they understand the human condition. That's why they're funny. And that's why people are laughing, because it's relatable. So actually, there's more of us than we realize. So happy sun in Aries season. Let's get ready to rumble. I got Mars in the 1st. Close enough, right? Let us know in the comments if it's your birthday, if you're an Aries. Happy birthday to all our friends. Let's have a little fun with it, right? You've been through some shit. We all have. Let's have a little fun with it. I like how Colette Baron Reed, she says, wear the world loosely. If we can just take ourselves less seriously, and I'm talking people that have gone through deep, dark trauma, like myself and many of us, right? that's where our power is in the fact that we're still smiling even after all this shit that we've been through, right? That's what makes the man, speaking of the emperor, that's what makes a powerful person. And some of you maybe you felt like you were made to feel like you were less than a person, like subhuman, like you were a monster, like you were I have an album that I wrote called Dehumanized. And through abuse, we can be made to feel like we're less than human, like they took away our humanity, and maybe they did. But not for long. Because we always rise again. We fall down 7 and we step up 8. See, what these people don't understand is that you have the keys to the staircase. You have, I'm hearing Stairway to Heaven, and I'm seeing this door, and it's locked, and you're holding the key. So only the ones who understand are granted access, because the others, they aren't capable of stepping up to the plate as you have. At least not in this current state. If they go through those things, they will rise above. Now, am I saying that you have to have a terrible life to become anything important? I'll let you think about that. Because a lot of the people that are the most inspirational, they definitely have an origin story, right? I'm not saying there's not people that are out here, I grew up in a wonderful home. I have wonderful parents. I grew up with money. Everything was perfect. I'm attractive. I've never gained a pound in my life. Every person I've ever dated has been amazing, maybe, right? Because even what's ironic is even that would be an outlier, because for most people, that's not the case, whether they're rich, poor, whatever. So you're always going to be an outlier. Malcolm Gladwell's book is really interesting. If you ever want to look into that, like, what does it mean to be an outlier? You're actually someone who has experienced adversity, who has been unseen in some way, who has gone through things that other people haven't experienced, which is what makes you what society would call an underdog. But I would argue it's not an underdog, it's an outlier. Those are two separate things. Underdog implies that you are like a dog, which you're not, right? You're an outlier. You're the one who made it, right? Against all odds. Let's give ourselves a little more credit. But I love an underdog story, right? I'm not a cynic, I'm a realist, okay? We have the Tower. So something could have happened that has triggered these memories to come to the surface, right? Or something could have recently happened with the Tower that has created this monster, this unstoppable force. See, guys, and this is the part that I might lose a couple people, is that with the Wheel of Fortune, I do personally believe that we are meant to experience certain things. And some people are not going to like that I'm saying that, because with the Lovers, the card of the pathway, at least that's my card for the pathway, people may say, well, that's a little bit negative. We manifest our own reality. I believe that's true. I count myself as a magician as well, and I do believe we create our own reality, right? But at the same time, with the Wheel of Fortune, the Fates, the Morai, I personally believe, let me know what you think in the comments about like predestination. I'd be curious to know what you guys think. Is our path chosen? Or is it just a choose your own adventure completely? Because I kind of believe it's both. How is that possible? Well, I believe some things are set in stone, and those are like checkpoints along the way that we're meant to experience certain things. And that should actually give us comfort. Now, do you have to believe that? No. That's what I believe, though. And I've always known I was different somehow. And I know a lot of people understand what I mean by that, where on one hand, I felt like dirt under someone's shoe. And on the other hand, I was like, I'm destined for great things. So that's kind of a funny balance of ideas, where on one hand, you feel like shit. And on the other hand, you're like, I'm amazing, basically, right? Just to cut it short. And a lot of people feel that way. And I just saw the high priestess, because see, she understands both. She has these two pillars, the darkness and the light. See, I'm somebody that believes with the moon that in order to experience the light, the darkness must be understood. Carl Jung has an interesting thought that he presented. Like, when people think about Jesus, for example, now not everybody's going to agree with the statement, right? I'm just saying, it's something that people would think, oh, who do you think of as like an amazing person? People would be like, Jesus the Messiah. But the atheists in the house are not going to agree with that. It's hard to think of examples that are inclusive and universal for everybody. So just give me a break, guys. Carl Jung talked about the shadow side of Christ. That's my point. And he talked about the opposite, the shadow of the savior of the world would be the one who came to destroy the world, right? It's an interesting thing to think about. But I'm not really going to go there right now. They created a monster because of how they treated you. They wanted you to feel like a worm, like you were nothing, like you didn't matter, like you could never do better than them for some of you. And that's because they knew who you were, not because they didn't, right? So once you realized it was all an illusion, game over. I'm hearing that sound like when you lose in a video game. I'm actually hearing specifically the old Mario game. I don't know how it goes, whatever. But you're going somewhere, and now they feel like, what have I done? Because they were afraid that this day would come that you would realize who you really were. So actually, by treating you this way, they're the ones who created this monster. In a good way, I'm saying. Like, now they created a monster where before you maybe you just would have been kind of like a chill person, not really getting up to much. And now you're this like super powered, like you're like a superhero, right? You're like a superhuman. So if they made you feel dehumanized, maybe they weren't wrong. You know, maybe you're not a human. That's what I mean about the shadow side. It's like Jesus was the Messiah, but the shadow side of him came to destroy the earth. So if people treated you like trash, like you weren't a human being, like you were this devil, this monster, what would be the flip side of that? Right? Because they knew you were actually, well, I'm not going to call you the Messiah, but I'm just saying. Okay. Let's get 3 cards here. What do you want us to know? Because this message is really just a message of encouragement to help us to think about how far we've actually come, how strong you really are. Because even if you know you're strong, even if you know you've grown so much, it's still good to just think about, though, like, but what if that didn't happen? Because that led to that, and that led to that. So if this negative stuff didn't happen to me, maybe I would have just been taking a walk with my dog or something like that instead of trying to help change the world. Now, taking a walk with your dog can change the world, one could argue. I'm just saying, guys, you understand what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I'm just like, leave me alone. Because everything you say can be so dissected. Or at least that's what happened to me. Maybe I'm projecting. Maybe that's my own, you know. Because everything I ever said was dissected 1,000 ways, explaining to me in full detail, a full 2-hour lecture of why it was all wrong, and the intricate details of why everything I ever believed and everything I ever said was wrong, basically. It's like, and that can give you a complex as well. So I've had to work through the shadow side of that as well, where sometimes it's like, Melissa, sometimes people are just like not thinking that. You know, like sometimes we can be so abused that we actually become narcissistic ourselves, thinking that everyone's thinking that and everyone's. So I'm just saying, guys, you know, we're not perfect angels, but you're not the devil that they made you out to be. You're actually a force to be reckoned with the Tower. Now, someone on the surface might look at these cards and be like, wow, those are really bad cards. One person sees trash and I see treasure because I like thrifting. So, all right. See, it's the sun. That's the sort of mindset that I'm talking about. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Now, I'm not calling you trash, but some of us were made to feel that way when someone else would look at that and bring it to the guy down at, I was watching Pawn Stars. This guy brought in this like unused Nintendo with like some sort of original game that was like still in its wrapping, and this guy came in with like the gloves and stuff. It was worth like $100,000. Just think about it, that someone would be like, I mean, maybe today people kind of know, but I'm just saying, like, think you would have seen that thing selling at a tag sale 10 years ago for $5. And this guy's bringing it down and it's $100,000. I'm just saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And if you're wise, you see it before the time. And the universe always knew who you were, that you were a rare gem. So it was just a matter of time. Like the Wheel of Fortune. See, that's why I believe that some things are destined and ordained, is because... Well, first of all, if we saw it, we would mess it up. We'd mess with the butterfly effect. So the universe doesn't show us everything. But we have an idea in our hearts of what we are, who we are, and what we are. So that's why it was so hard when you were treated so wrongly, because you were a genuine soul. Someone needs to hear that. You're a genuine soul. And people took advantage of that because they were anything but genuine. They were fake, and you highlighted that for them. And that confused them. So they projected on you. The time always comes for your glory to be revealed with the sun. And I mean, hey, it's looking like we're seeing a piece of that during Aries season. So show us what we need to know, please, for the collective. And 1. 4 of Cups. Now, let's not be ungrateful. I know it's been hard, guys. I'm not saying that rude. I'm saying it to myself as well. Like, I've really been catching myself recently. Caught myself slipping, right? We could even be, some of us could be facing with the 4 of Cups, either, you know, depression or feeling kind of like disconnected or like I don't even care anymore. And a numbness. That can happen, guys, when you've just been through so much that then when you get a chance to kind of be free and be happy, it's not always the easiest thing just to step into that after everything you've been through. We have to learn to regulate and create new memories and change the way our brain experiences people in the world and situations. Because the sun is a card of happiness as well, right? And these things take time, and as long as they took to be formed in you, think about that. Depending on how long a certain trauma went on, you're not just gonna suddenly, wake up from the coma. Something about it's a coma. I'm just saying, guys, go easy on yourself. But at the same time, be grateful that this negative shit that you went through, it created a monster. It created a beast. Like you are as powerful as you are, and your energy's as potent as it is because of what it's gone through. Right? You're an ancient soul. You're someone who can be trusted by the universe to walk out a path that not everyone walks, the road less traveled. Not everyone gets that opportunity. And the Four of Cups can be missing an opportunity. Don't sleep on yourself. Everyone else, they're the ones who are sleeping. You've woken up from the coma. You've stepped out of the matrix. You've made a conscious choice to live the life that you believe you were born to live. 1, 2, and 3. We have the Two of Pence at the bottom of the deck here. See, this looks to me like a soul that's split in two. And look where you're on your way to. This is the journey that you're taking with the Chariot, is to do a little magic trick. What? How is it one coin now? You brought your soul together. How did you do that? It's part of your journey to join two things together that were separated, that were separate. I'm hearing separate at birth. It's almost as if, say, they're giving me this crazy scenario. Imagine it like this. You were born a twin. And this twin was separated from you, and you never knew that you had a twin. This is like finding out you have a twin. Now, for some of you, maybe it's a twin flame, right? I don't really want to go there. But this is what it's like. It's like a piece of yourself was sectioned off. Now, this can happen through trauma. I better pop a trigger warning on this one because, TW always loves to come and see everyone anyway. Honk honk, hello everyone. It's TW, the Cosmic Clown. Trauma's a tricky thing because one person could go through a war, come back, and miraculously recover and integrate back into society, where another person, they stubbed their toe, someone laughed at them at McDonald's when they were 12, and it traumatizes them for the rest of their life. It's a hard thing to measure, right? And it's a hard thing to say, like, one person's trauma is worse than another, and the way this person reacted is better or worse than it. So I don't do any of that. I believe everyone is valid and everyone's situation is valid, and this is a safe space, right? Now, this is what I'm seeing: the devil, the tower, brute force, intentional, and then possibly even tried to gaslight you out of the fact that it even happened at all. Like, what are you talking about? That never happened. I never thought that. I never said that. I never did that. And this could be something that's happened throughout your life, guys. This is not one thing. Why is it coming up during Aries season? There's a lot of planets moving through Aries. Like we have Aries energy present. So I feel like there's these cards really kind of show what we're going through collectively. I'm seeing stuff coming up, and it's the way I'm seeing it is it's coming out like vomit, guys. And I know that's not always the prettiest. Healing isn't always pretty, right? But I know we're always looking fabulous. I know my collective. I'm just saying, guys, this looks like this looks this looks rough, but this is the thing. This is what's happening, like in the collective at large. But what's interesting is that people who have already gone through spiritual awakenings, like a lot of us have, it's just a regular Tuesday for you. So what's interesting is the astrology and just society at large, they're going through all of these, just in the world, there's catastrophic events, there's crazy shit happening at all times, right? So, but you're somebody who's gone through a lot of things in life. So for you, the negative, chaotic, crazy energy in the world, it can actually aid us, right? Because personal experiences that you've went through, whether it was love, family, friends, whatever you went through, guys, this devil shit, you let it create a monster. You took the negative things, transmuted them, even if you didn't realize you were doing it, and you turned yourself into this beast. They're right. You're not human. You're more than human. And what I'm seeing here is something about this lost part of yourself. I'm hearing the lost city of Atlantis. You could relate to Atlantis. One time I had a vision about Atlantis, and it was really crazy. It was this like underwater, well, we know that. The way it looked, there was thousands and thousands of people, it was like an exodus of thousands of people, and there were these huge caves, and there were like streams of water flowing through these caves. They almost looked like the Grand Canyon, like that color rocks. Huge, like it went up so high, like the caves, they weren't like small enclosed caves, they were huge caves. And there were these steps. It looked like 1,000 steps from afar. It looked like these long, skinny steps with like 1,000 steps, and there was this big opening, doors, but it looked kind of like a city. Like we were all moving into this city, but it was like people looked like modern day. It didn't look like everyone was wearing clothes that you would see like in 2020 whenever I saw this vision. Anyways, guys, I'm seeing something like that though, where what does that mean? I'm seeing you're reconnecting with this lost aspect of you. It's like how people would think of, oh, the city of Atlantis, that's just a fairy tale, that's not real, and maybe you don't even believe it's real, so just take it as an analogy if you don't. I personally believe in crazy shit like that, but all right. But what I'm seeing, guys, in all seriousness, is there's this like lost aspect of you, possibly even from like a past life, or it's something that you felt like you lost through trauma, a piece of yourself that we have the opportunity to like glue it back together. But it's not just glue. I'm seeing it as kintsugi, which I have a song from years ago that I wrote called Kintsugi. It's beautiful. The concept of kintsugi. I've always loved this concept. I truly believe it's one of the most beautiful things we can do is think of our broken parts like this. So say there's a plate that's very valuable to us. It's like your great grandmother's plate or something. And someone smashes it. Like I'm seeing someone smashing it. Like this isn't just life circumstances. That could be part of it all. We always have trauma from random shit too, right? It's not just like directed like a one-on-one thing, but I'm seeing it's like someone coming in, taking something super valuable and smashing it. Now, what kintsugi does is it picks that plate up and it glues it back together using gold instead of glue. This ain't no Gorilla Glue. This is solid gold. So the original plate is actually less valuable than the plate that was broken. Now, I should actually reframe that because really I should say it in the positive, is that you would think, oh, I'm broken, you know, I've been through so many things. When in reality, when we glue this back together with gold, the broken plate is more valuable than it would have otherwise been. It's kind of like the concept I was talking about earlier, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is what I'm trying to say. All right. If you didn't go through that, then you wouldn't be the person that you are today. Now I'm seeing the word crime. So I do just want to also give a caveat. You know, this is a scale, this is a spectrum, and certain people's lives are harder than other people's lives. So, yes, I said that every trauma matters and we shouldn't compare ourselves. That is always going to remain true, but at the same time, you know, we have laws for a reason. Like cuz this is the sort of argument that a narcissist would make, right? Somebody who wants to use something like I was saying, like everyone's special, everyone matters, let's validate everyone. This has happened to me many times, is that having that sort of perspective can get you into trouble with the wrong crowd because they'll say, okay, yes, I'm a PDF, but actually, I'm just like everyone else because of this and that and this and that. And you said everyone's valid and everyone's important. And if everyone's valid and everyone's important, then I'm valid and I'm important. And now I don't have to go to prison. Not true. So yeah. All right. They have created a monster. Card number 1 for the collective. The Ace of Swords. And that's clear as day to whoever these people are that are seeing you. I'm hearing seeing you in your glory, and the word glory keeps coming through. Now, what's interesting is you're showing up here. Oh, guys, this is cool. This is very cool. This is how you're showing up. Now, before I say that, the Ace of Swords to me talks a lot about personal identity. So, pushing you to the edge of your reality caused some sort of a spiritual awakening that reminded you, wait, I don't want to lose myself. Like I want to get that piece of me back, which could have been, it can even be a journey that you're currently on. I'm still on it. I feel like we'll always be on it, right? You began some sort of, I almost said surgery, some sort of journey to find something that you felt was missing. Now, I'm not saying we should search for things outside of ourselves, guys. I'm saying this is like a piece of you that you felt was lost. I had a comment from someone the other day. It was really interesting. They said that they found their promise ring while they were listening to the video. And I was just like, you don't know how prophetic you are. Because look what we're talking about. This would be like finding something that you felt was gone, right? And this could even just be more like existential, like maybe you're not consciously thinking like I need to find a piece of me that is missing. This could have just been something kind of in your heart that you felt different, you felt other, you felt like you've been through hard things and you just want to feel okay, you want to feel whole with the Ace of Pentacles, right? And so your soul started going on this journey of piecing these two parts of yourself together. And what I'm seeing is that there could have even been a specific thing that kind of pushed you over the edge, guys, because there's something in my head that, for me, this happened to me too. So, me too. Hashtag me too. Maybe something yet. That's not what it was for me, but I've also experienced that. There's something about you reclaiming your sword, reclaiming your power, reclaiming your identity, because there could have been people from your past, or maybe even currently for some of you, and no judgment, these situations are complicated. Oh, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just leave, right? Because you don't know what you're talking about. All right. So what I'm seeing here is that there could have been someone or multiple people that in the past they invalidated you, they misinterpreted you, they said you were someone you weren't. They could have projected themselves onto you, them showing up as the devil. I had a dream a few nights ago where it's weird. Every so often I see tarot cards in my dream and someone they drew the devil card. And the reading was about their character. Speaking of character, because we have the Ace of Swords, which to me symbolizes character, sense of self, who you are, the truth of who you are, your authenticity. And in the dream, this person, they drew the devil card and they were trying to explain to me all the reasons why it wasn't bad, which, you know, guys, we can argue that this is Saturn energy, Capricorn energy. The devil is not always a bad card. But this is what I was trying to say to you earlier, is that sometimes people that are really skilled manipulators, they'll take those little caveats. It's the same sort of people that if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Well, you said that everyone, you know, everyone deserves a chance and everyone's special. And, you know, and then they'll take it to mean that they can do whatever they want to you and get away with it. Right? So in the dream, this person drew, someone's name could be Drew. Someone drew the devil, and I was trying to, you know, they were trying to explain to me why they weren't a bad person, right? Basically. So yeah, someone could have projected upon you, this is my point with telling you the dream, that you were actually them. They were projecting on you that you were a devil, when really you're holding this sword like a mirror, and all it's doing is mirroring back to them themselves. The devil in the mirror, the man in the mirror, right? Whatever has happened here, whether it was one event or many over the course of years, something happened that pushed you one step too far. And it caused, it did the exact opposite of what would be expected. It actually brought you into a place of clarity with yourself somehow. It's like you got pushed so far that you ended up back around the circle, back to that Wheel of Fortune. I should have kept it out because I keep thinking about it. So that's definitely part of this reading. You could be seeing tens. Now, it's kind of like with the Wheel of Fortune, it's a circle and we move around the wheel, right? It's like you went around the wheel so far. It was so like karmic and it just kept getting darker and darker for some of you. That it's like you hit the top of the wheel and I'm hearing it like one of those lottery machines. Ding 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 and all the coins are falling out. That imagery keeps coming through ever since I did my reading talking about the golden ticket. This is like winning the lottery, and you might say, "What? All the dark stuff I've been through, how is that like winning the lottery?" The Ace of Swords is worth everything. This is your identity. This is you reclaiming your actual identity, and no one can take that away from you now. That's why it's created a monster, because you were pushed so far that you were pushed into some sort of spiritual awakening where you self-actualized. They pushed you into self-actualization, which is so ironic. They were trying to break you, or you could have just gone through hard things in life. This could be financial hardships. This could be feeling othered in society, like you're weird or you're different. Maybe you have a disability. Right? Maybe you didn't do well in school, or it's different for everybody what forms a negative sense of identity. But with the Ace of Swords, and especially with this imagery here, the Two of Pentacles into the Ace of Pentacles, this is you reclaiming some missing piece of you. In my reading with the Tower, I talked about authentication. Like your identity had to be authenticated. That reading, I think that was a while back now. I think that was for the Aquarius solar eclipse. You're exiting the Tower. Well, regardless, guys, because look, we have a lot now. I feel like, to me, time is weird. Let me know what you guys feel. It's like I have all of these readings right here. And it felt like just yesterday, but at the same time, I'm like, that was 6 months ago. Like, I don't really know. Just put on some cuticle oil. I don't really know what to say. Okay. Let's fix up our nails. Someone in the comments the other day was like, let's put on our loafers and go. What'd you say? And go to the farmer's market. Okay. Love that. We should have a meetup, guys. All of us monsters unite. Okay. I feel better. Okay. See, they just lubed you up, right? They just oiled you up. You know how people say, you're like a greased pig. You've become like a greased pig. These people used to have control over you and dominion over you when they felt like they could control you because you were split and you didn't have your own identity. But now you've exited the Tower. And what that Tower was it was an illusion. It was a house of cards created by this darkness. And it might not be a particular person. Again, this could be more like you've just been through a lot in life, guys. Oh, okay, so back to this. What I was going to show is it was so weird seeing all of these court cards at the bottom of the deck all lined up like this. Like, this is how you're showing up, and this is a very well-balanced individual, male, female, non-binary, however you identify. We have everyone here, right? So you have this inner child that's still intact with the Page of Cups, this dreamer. You have this Queen of Swords where you've learned boundaries. You've learned, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be manipulated. You're like a human lie detector. People can't lie to you. That brings me back to that Truman Show quote again. The last thing I would ever do is lie to you. And they're lying right to your freaking face. So you've learned discernment, especially the Queen of Swords, because we have the Ace of Swords in the reading. So they've created a monster because they've created someone who can't be lied to, right? And then we have the King of Wands, which is He's someone that he's able to just keep going no matter what life hands him, and it actually gives him more confidence. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger, would be something that the King of Wands would say. And now here we have a grounded, solid individual with the King of Pentacles. I saw the Nine of Pentacles earlier as well when I was shuffling. You're someone who you've figured out how to make things work for you, even if you don't have the most money in the world. You're the type of person that you know how to stretch a dollar. You know how to make things work for you. You're industrious. You're wise. Someone else could be given $5,000 and you could be given 5 and they blow it on nothing, and then the next day you figured out how to make that $5 into a meal, right? So you have a street smarts about you as well. You're a rare combination. And look how cool this is. We have the Four of Pentacles. So there's 4 aspects to you, right? It's actually more than 2. See, the deeper we get in the reading, the more you see the treasure you are and how much you have to offer. You have all these different aspects to you. There's not 2, there's actually 4. And it could be that you don't recognize them because you're using them to stand on. Because the Four of Pentacles, for those listening, is he's sitting with his feet on top of the Two of Pentacles like a footstool, right? So you don't even realize how strong you are, guys, that these aspects of you have used them to stand on when you had no one or you felt alone in the world. It's like you stood upon yourself. You held on with the Four of Pentacles. So nothing can really. That's why they've created a monster, because you've been through so much that there's not much that can really get you these days. And that's actually a gift. That's a skill. That's an art. And I feel like that realization in and of itself is what is bringing this togetherness in your system, is that you're realizing, hey, I actually want that aspect of me back. I don't care what they did to me back there. I love myself. I love that younger version of me. You know, I went through a lot and I deserve to be loved. So I'm going to take that back with the Two of Pentacles. I'm going to take that aspect of me back. That's mine, in fact. See, there's kind of this like righteous anger, if you will, where they created this monster. They pushed you so far that you realized, it's like ripping your shirt. You realized, that's mine. That's my inner child. And that's an Aries energy for sure. That's a powerful energy. The child and the warlord all in one somehow. They have created a monster. Card number 2 for the collective. The Seven of Wands, guys. You've learned boundaries and you've learned how to stand your ground with the Seven of Wands. See how he has to stand here and defend his land, defend what he's gotten. Like, he's defending his spot on this hill. He's gone through so much to get here. And he's not moving from this position. See, they've created a monster because you're not moving anymore. 2 sevens. You could be seeing 777, 77, 7. See, they used to be able to confuse you, manipulate you, confuse you. Maybe you even struggle with addictions and stuff like that, guys. So have I. It's a no judgment zone. But look, here you are. And you have come into a position where you're not going to let anyone disrupt your peace anymore. You might not let a lot of people in. And really, I feel like the next lesson that is going to be spirit proving you wrong, that you actually can let some people in, right? And I'm not saying you're some hermit out here. I'm not going to project my own story on every person, but a lot of you relate to the things I've talked about in my personal story, and it can be a lonely road, guys. You can feel misunderstood and like, but at the same time, the fact that you've been able to stand alone is actually what makes you this monster, right? Is that you are, now that you're gaining self-love, and a lot of us have been on that journey for years now. I'm just saying, during Aries season, it's the first house, it's the self. This is a card of the self with the Ace of Swords, and I feel like this real warm, I feel like I'm kind of cradling a baby. I'm hearing a young lass. So you could be Irish or Scottish. Is that Irish or Scottish? Let me know, guys. I have an Irish friend in here. Let me know. But it's like a little baby, and you're loving this baby. This baby is you, right? And you're never going to let anyone hurt this baby again. You're protecting it. It looks like a nest to me, and I've never seen that before. The Seven of Wands is looking like sticks in a nest, that the birds create a nest. It looks like this man is protecting the eggs in the nest. So you're not going to let anyone hurt that inner child again. You've worked too hard to bring these aspects of yourself together and to heal yourself, and you're standing firm in that with the Seven of Wands, as well as the Four of Pentacles, guys. Very firm energy. Now, on the shadow side, it could be that we're being too closed off. And I do feel like Spirit wants to bless you. Remember, we had the Four of Cups earlier, and he's refusing the cup, or he's missing an opportunity. I feel like all that showing is there are good things in life. There are people that actually will love you and support you. And even if you've been through a lot, that doesn't mean that that's going to be the rest of your life, right? I'm hearing it's the turning point. Wow. They have created a monster. Card number 3 for the collective, the Hermit. So maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe some of you guys are hermits out here too. And to me, hermits can be very outgoing and extroverted. I mean, I'm literally on the internet, right? So hermits, they come in many shapes and sizes, right? The hermit doesn't necessarily mean you're completely alone, but even if you're in a crowded room, you could be the type that you felt alone. You felt like you weren't understood by other people. But the hermit is a wise, I almost said a wise magician, right? So you're someone that you could even feel like you think a lot with the hermit. Like you think about life, you think about what it all means, and you've tried to understand spiritual concepts like hermetics, for example, with the hermit. You tried to understand like why we're here, why you're here, what's the point of all of this? Questions like this, the great questions of life, would be what the hermit is reading about or writing about, right? See, this is the monster they've created. They actually created this genius, right? They created a wise person because little did they know, or life, just life circumstance, little did they know that you were actually taking notes all those times, that you weren't just totally crashing out. You were learning from what you went through each and every time. And you've gathered all of that up. And now you're turning it into this valuable gold coin, which turns out is actually just you, yourself, with the Ace of Swords. So much love, everybody. happy Sun and Aries season, and happy birthday to all our Aries friends. I love you guys. It's been Missy Gordon, the Metamystic here. And if you'd like to book a personal, you can always email me, guys. If you'd like to follow me on my other social media platforms, I'd love to have you on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at The Metamystic. I post 3-minute shorts every single day. So I'd love to have you guys over there as well if you want to follow me. And remember, you can always listen to The Metamystic Show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. EST, as well as on my YouTube channel at The Metamystic. Thank you to everyone who donates to support this show. I really appreciate you guys, and I ask that you will be blessed for everything that you've given. So I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one.